What's up, guys? Kate Wills here. Today I'm going to do a special review of Games of Thrones Season 2, Episode 9, BlackWater. Now, the reason why I'm going to do this review is because I've been waiting for this episode for quite some time since the beginning of the series. I've been waiting for, this big battle because in Season 1 and, so far with Season 2, all we had were, these, small fights, but, this was, an actual battle, with two opposing armies, and I've been waiting for this for quite some time. So pretty much in this episode, it was finally the battle between the Lannisters and the Baratheons. Well, with Stannis Baratheon and his army, and pretty much I wasn't really rooting for anybody because I don't really like the Lannisters except for Tyrion. Tyrion Lannister, he's like the only cool Lannister in my opinion. And then Stannis, how he dealt with his brother and everything, a little shady to me, and I didn't really like Stannis. But I will give Stannis respect because in this battle he went on the front lines. He was the first guy. He went charging in, ready, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take my throne. And I will respect Stannis for that because he went on the front line and he was battling, trying to get to the kingdom and defeat the Lannisters. And pretty much how this battle started was that Stannis had his fleet ready to invade King's Landing. However, though, Tyrion was using that wildfire, that green substance, the water, and pretty much he used like a ship to that was leaking all this stuff, and pretty much lit it on fire, and all this green fire came out of nowhere. It burned hundreds of ships, and pretty much his Stannis's right hand man was caught in blast. But I don't think he died, or I wasn't really sure or not. But pretty much all the ships were burning, and pretty much Stannis was like, you know what, forget it, we're still gonna go in, and pretty much the whole collision began. And I will admit though, the Hound was pretty dominant at first. I mean, he was literally cutting people in half, and you heard stories about how his brother, the Mountain, would just cut people in half. But him and his brother are really strong. I mean, he was just cutting people like from the waist down, heads, and he was just cutting, slicing people down. And he really loves warfare because before the battle even started, he was like, if anybody has a clean sword, then they're gonna get killed. Like you better go and kill everybody. And pretty much that was happening, and he was just swinging his sword, but then all of a sudden when he was fighting, this guy was caught on fire and he just froze. But luckily he was saved by one of Tyrion's, his friend, who's like with the police of he was the new leader of the whole police force of King's Landing. He saved the Hound. But however, the Hound was just frozen. He was just looking around. He saw all this fire and he just left. He just left and he said F everybody, and he just took some wine and he just left on his way. And pretty much, the reason why I think he's like that was because, he was burned when he was very young by his brother. And, his face was burned, so I'm guessing all this time, he's had, fears of fire because, he was scarred for life by his brother at an early age. But it was just weird though that he would just leave because he was just like so hyped up when fighting. He was just slashing his sword, slashing, and then he just left. It was kind of weird. He was his top soldier in King's Landing, in my opinion, one of them. And what was funny was during the whole battle, Cersei's and Stanza were like, and some other the women they were kept in like a safe house, and Cersei's was just talking to Sansa about how to be a queen and basically how she did not care. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like the majority of the Lannisters, because Cersei's, she did not care about anybody except for herself and her kids. She was like, they could all die, and pretty much she had like a special bottle with like this kind of like poison in a way, and which she had prepared just in case Stannis' army they came in through the gates, and before they would get raped or killed, that they would die on their own hands. But Cersei's had no faith throughout the whole thing that the army was going to win, because he knew that Joffrey was too young, and she didn't care about his brother Tyrion at all. So it was like, what, forget everybody. I'm just gonna worry about me and myself, my kids, and she took her son and they went to the throne room. And pretty much throughout the whole battle, King Joffrey was called by his mother, and Joffrey he just left, and I was like, wow. This is why majority of fans of Games of Thrones don't like Joffrey. Like he's like one of the most hated characters because I mean, Joffrey, he was ready. He had a new sword. He made Sansa kiss his sword, and he was like, "I'm gonna kill Stannis. I'm gonna give him a red smile. It's gonna be done." And then it was like, yeah. he was scared throughout the whole thing. He was like, oh my goodness, they might win. And then he just left, and all the troops were like, well, what do we do now? Our king is gone, our top soldier, the Hound, is gone, and pretty much Tyrion had to rally up the troops. He had to go and, make a speech, and he was like, let's go, and he had like an axe and everything, and they went around because there was a secret passage where they can go around Stannis' army. And which I gotta say, Stannis, also when he was like higher up where the archers were, he's a good swordsman. He was good. He was like taking down enemies, which is why I have to respect him in this episode, because he went in running, I'm gonna take my throne, like killing everybody, and it looked like the Baratheon army was gonna make it, but then Tyrion, they came from behind, and he actually it was funny. He came walking and he just cut somebody's leg and just like killed him with the axe, and then it looked like they stopped Stannis' forces, but then they came back and they kept fighting and fighting, and Tyrion almost got killed by one of the King's Guard, because I believe it was the same one that was always follow Joffrey's orders, and that he didn't really like Tyrion at all. So he pretty much tried to kill him and tried to cut his like head off, but he kind of like scarred him. But luckily, one of his helpers had killed the King's Guard, and pretty much Tyrion thought like the battle was lost, and the Queen was like, yeah, get ready to drink this, son, because we're gonna kill ourselves. So that's Stannis' point. She had no faith whatsoever throughout the whole thing. Like, she was talking so badly about everybody else, then she's just a terrible person. Honestly, she is. But luckily, guess who came back? Tywin Lannister on his white stallion. Dad had to come in. Big Daddy. He had to go in with his white stallion with the forces, and he came and he was wrecking shop, killing everybody. And then the battle apparently was won. The Lannisters won, and Stannis' army is pretty much done. And now Stannis, he lost his army. Now I don't know what's gonna happen to him. He's gonna go out in hiding or something. But they lost. But overall, this episode, in my opinion, was really good. This battle was worth the wait, because I've been waiting for quite some time for this battle. Probably the most high budget episode, with all the effects and everything. But I really like the whole strategy behind this, because it wasn't like, okay, we're just going to charge into each other, but it was like great strategy with this battle, which I liked. And yeah, but I mean, still with like Cersei's and Joffrey, and like Joffrey was he's just a coward, like just straight up, like he's terrible. And Cersei's, man, she had no hope whatsoever for the Lannisters, the army, to win. But luckily they did win, and in the preview of episode 10, the season 2 finale, we see that that everybody was celebrating, everybody was smiling, and I'm like, why is everybody smiling? You was about to kill yourself, and Joffrey went in hiding as a king. So, and I wonder what's gonna happen to the Hound too, because he just left. So more than likely he might be ordered to be executed, because he said F the king, F you, Joffrey, everybody else, I'm leaving. But overall, this was a good episode. Let me know your thoughts on this episode, what you liked about it. Because to me, I thought this was a really good episode because of the battle. It was really well done. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please subscribe if you have not already. If you did enjoy this video, and give us a thumbs up, that'd be great. And thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys later. Peace.